Building Flutter apps from scratch can be time-consuming, especially when setting up architecture, state management, and authentication. That's why I created Barebones Flutter, a structured, scalable template with MVVM, Firebase authentication, localization, and support for both BLoC and Riverpod. Let's dive in. So first, let me show how can you use that project easily. We have three different branches, okay? Main, BLoC, and Riverpod. If you use the main branch, you'll need to implement the Firebase and state management solution that you desire. If you use BLoC, you can directly use the BLoC with Firebase. If you use Riverpod, then you can use the Riverpod with the Firebase implementation. For the other state management solutions, you can directly use the main branch, or maybe just fork the BLoC branch and change the state management solution in there to get the Firebase implementation at least. So for the related information you can find in README. For example, for the mains README, we have a different project structure. So let's go for the BLoC. In the BLoC, we have a different project structure, you can see. So let's glance at what we have. For the main branch, we have two different roots, okay? Root folders, core and presentation. In core, we have some constants like enums. Maybe you can add here some colors if you don't have a design system, of course. We will look. So we have dependency injector here. I prefer to use get it in general. Also, we have an initialization folder here for the router and the material app. That's all for the core folder for the main branch. So we have also presentation folder. We have a design system. Design system means think like we have a button and we need to use that button in everywhere of the app. So we need a constant button, okay? Think like we have a red button with a light text, okay? So if we want to use that button in everywhere of the app, we need to create a common one, right? We don't have to create that button every time that we need. Instead, we will create for a one time and we will use that button in everywhere of the app. For the localization, we use official recommended localization and we have views folder. In here, we'll have just views. And if you want to add some state management solutions, for example, you can add in presentation because every page, every view needs some logic. For example, for the authentication, we need some sign in, sign out, sometimes create profile, etc. Such type of logics need to be in the state management part so that we can manage the state actually. Yeah, that's it for the views folder. Let's go to another branch, for example, BLoC, okay? So for the BLoC, we need this. When you fork the repo or maybe just download the repo, you will face with such type of errors, okay? I didn't share my app config because I created app config example for you. You need to remove this example part here and import in main.dart like this. And of course, you need to delete this and fill these informations from Firebase. For the BLoC, we have data and domain folders as extra. Of course, in the core folder, we have interfaces so that we have some methods and we implement these methods in the related repository. If you watched my previous video, which is related with Map Motion Flutter, which is a map app, I also used the same architecture in there. We have some interfaces and we have some repository or services, and we make an implementation of these functions in the repository or service. So let's look at the repository parts. Here you can see we use Firebase. We use create user with email and password function, which is coming from the Firebase out actually. And Firebase out is a package that we used. So we have also domain folder, and in the domain folder we have models like user model. So after core, data and domain, we have presentation as final, and here we have blocks, and we have design system, we have localization and views. So the extras are data, domain, interfaces, config file, and blocks in here. Riverpod is also same, just the naming convention and state management changes, like we have no blocks in the Riverpod, but we have view models instead, and we use Riverpod with state notifier. Actually, I prefer to use like that. You can change, of course. This is just a template. You can play with it. Let me show the Riverpod also, finally. Okay, discard all changes. I'm not gonna change anything. And Riverpod. We are waiting. Yeah, here we go. Don't forget to add app config here. You can see we have again interfaces, we have data domain folders, and here we have view models instead of blocks. We have state, and we have our view model with state notifier. After that YouTube video, I will also publish my related Medium article. You can see here. I have not published yet. Soon I will publish. Thanks for watching our dive into bare bones Flutter. I hope you enjoyed the video and found some useful tips along the way. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more updates. Feel free to share your feedback in the comments below. See you in the next video. Flutterists.